Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. You guys want some evidence today? I think I finally found some amazing evidence that, I have no other way to describe it other than to say once again that I have always firmly believed our own moon contains artificial structures on its surface as well as activity happening on and above it and around it. We'll just say between Earth and the moon, we'll just say there's a highway of activity happening. We've all heard about the secret bases that are supposedly on the back side of the moon, the side with which we never see. We've had former image techs who worked for NASA and who came out years later agreeing to describe to Congress in a congressional hearing and state the fact that yes, when we went to the moon, we were not only there to simply land and walk around, but we also went so we could fly around the backside and take photographs of these bases, of these structures that were there. And that yes, indeed, these photographs were taken, and that yes, these structures and these UFOs were there. So today, I have a brand new finding from an official Apollo 11 photograph that was snapped while they were orbiting the moon. So they're not on the moon, they're flying around it in the space capsule. So here we have a new photograph. The image number is AS11-41-6041. And I'll put this down in the video description. So we have this beautiful shot here with the Earth in the background, the moon at the bottom of the screen. They're flying over the moon. It's a beautiful shot. And we have hundreds, thousands of images like this. And these are taken from the Project Apollo Image Archive on Flickr.com. And a lot of these images, up until a couple of years ago, were never seen before. That is, until NASA and some former astronauts started uploading these full magazines of photographs to this website, full resolution photographs. And so we have this photo here, nothing really out of the ordinary, but if you guys haven't noticed yet, not only do we have the moon below, the Earth here in the center, but we have this little speck off here to the left, just to the left of the Earth. And so when I saw this, and a viewer brought this to my attention, I definitely wanted to look into it further. And when I did, I realized that this is not an image artifact, this is not a star, and this is not a part of the Apollo spacecraft. This is a craft all on its own. So let's go ahead and zoom in. And by the way, there's some other very interesting anomalous things in this photo. So we'll get to those in just a second, so be sure to watch this entire video. Alright, so here we are, we're almost all the way zoomed in, and we're starting to see something. Not a star, let's zoom in further. And when we do, and as I did earlier when I first saw this, I was shocked to see that this object, which takes on sort of a disc-like shape, has what looks like a dome or some sort of, it almost looks like a chimney or an open-ended cylinder protruding from the top of it, and this cylinder is casting a shadow on the back side of this craft. Look at this thing. Look at this cylinder here, or chimney, as I like to call it, and look at this elongated shadow being cast behind it down on the surface of the rest of this structure. You can even see the open end of this cylinder. You can see it coming up off of this thing. I don't know if this is a chimney, I don't know if this is an exhaust, I don't know if this is just some other part of this object, but whatever it is, it's cylinder shaped, it's attached to this object, and it's casting a massive shadow behind it, proving that this is a three-dimensional object in space being lit by the sun, which is off to the right, and we have structural features here that are casting shadows. Bombshell evidence. In my opinion. I mean, it's right here. I don't have to do anything to it. I don't have to look at it too hard in order to see this thing. I mean, it's the same thing when you have a tower or a skyscraper here on Earth, where you have one side of it that's being lit by the sun, and the other side casts a long shadow on anything behind it that's not in the view of the sun. And that's exactly what's happening here. And as we go back to the Flickr webpage and we'll go ahead and move backwards and forwards through the photographs, this thing is only seen in one photograph, at least in this general area that I've been able to find. And there's like a whole, there is a list of photographs for every single magazine and every single Apollo mission that you can think of, and you can go here and just cycle through them. So we're going back frame by frame. You can see the Earth is rising upwards, and we have this great progression of photographs here that shows the moon spinning. It shows them spinning around the moon. The Earth comes into view, and now we'll just go forward a few frames, and we see this thing disappear. These photographs were taken probably 5 to 20 seconds apart, and it's just, it only appears in one frame. Well, actually, here we have a separate frame here that actually has something down here near the horizon of the moon. So let's go ahead and throw this. We'll download it and we'll throw it into Photoshop. So here we are. We've put it into Photoshop. We're going to rotate the image to get the correct perspective. And we'll zoom in on this object here. I'm not sure if this is the same object. That's what we're going to try to find out here. But it's definitely something. And so let's zoom in. All right, that's about as far as we can zoom in. So what we're going to do is we're going to blow this up, crop it out, and now we can really zoom in without that pixelation. And yeah, this definitely seems to be something. Could this be the same object? I'm not sure. It's much closer to the surface of the moon. And we'll go ahead and add a little bit of contrast here, see if that changes anything. And yeah, we pretty much have the same view. But again, this is another object. You know, you find these things throughout these photographs. And unfortunately, even at the great resolution we have, it's just still too blurry. But something here. And again, this would seem to have a bit of a shadow to it as well. So let's go back to the main image here. And something else very interesting that I found in this same photo, I was scanning the moon's surface because in many of these photographs, I know I've said this before, but you'll notice that the moon's surface is so bright and washed out that you really can't make out any surface features. And this is a common ploy and technique that NASA utilized once they got these photographs back to Earth. They would systematically wash them out, so you couldn't make any detail. And this is a common technique, you know, because they don't want you to see the surface features of the moon. They don't want you to see the structures. And so I brought the contrast up a bit, and as I was scanning the surface, something stood out to me among this mountainous, rocky terrain. And as we're zooming in here, I'll show you guys what else I found. I was scanning through, and I noticed this. What looks like, my best guess, I can only tell the shape, but it's a long, very thin, rectangular or cigar-shaped object, unidentified. And you guys can see how it's kind of sticking up out of the surface here. I don't know if it's floating, I don't know if it's attached to the surface, but look at this thing. It sticks out like a sore thumb. It's literally sticking up in the air. And it's obviously a long rectangular object or cylinder of some sort. And it's, obviously it does not blend. Look at the thing. And again, it's just another one of these oddities, moon oddities that we found. Things that just hover over the moon. We don't know what they are. We've captured them so many times before, but this is just another strange, unidentified object that I found in this photo. I also found what looked like two glowing orbs, either hovering above or once again on the surface of the moon. You're seeing those here. You see these two bright white orbs, or at least reflecting or having light emanating from them. So there's a couple strange things in this photo. I highly suggest you download it. You can look at it for yourself. Maybe you can find something I haven't. So yeah, we have this saucer here. And come on guys, just look at this thing. I think we have a bona fide catch here of one of these flying saucers that were reported to have been sitting on the rims of craters on the moon by the astronauts, that have been seen in various pieces of moon footage, both from the Apollo missions and from amateur astronomers. We have the famous Apollo 10 footage here. This is the best version I could find, where we once again see them orbiting the moon, and then we see a UFO flying much closer to the moon underneath them, flying in the opposite direction. You're seeing that here. Look at this thing pass by. Moving, again, very smooth in the opposite direction. Just going on its merry way, minding its own business. And again, it would seem to be much closer to the moon, but look how big it is. I mean, you can still get a pretty good shot of this thing, so I would have to say that this thing is of at least a moderate size, whatever that object was. Here, and again, this is also from Apollo 10. The Apollo 10 mission, we captured a ton of UFO activity, both in photographs and film footage. Here you're seeing some more footage of a UFO seen in the distance above the Earth's horizon that actually makes a sharp left-hand turn and blasts underneath and past the lunar orbiter. So just watch this for a second. Shoots off toward the lunar orbiter, makes a sharp left-hand turn. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never seen a satellite, a piece of space debris or junk, or any technology that we have perform such a maneuver. And we even have some footage, again, from Apollo 10, from the inside of the lunar module, where they're filming their various shenanigans, and again, we see more of these objects outside of the window, almost like they're oblivious to it. Just sitting there, playing with his wiener, or hot dog, and we've got things flying around outside the window. So, yeah, and this is just from Apollo 10, and this is only a select few clips that I've shown you today. So, if you're new to the channel, and hell, even if you're not, there's a ton more that you likely haven't seen, and that I will probably discover in future. So again, let me know what you think about this amazing new image here. I will put the link to it down in the video description. Amazing stuff. Big thanks to the viewer who pointed this out to me, and big thanks to you guys for continuing to send in new evidence, new footage, and for helping this channel grow. This channel runs with your guys' help. So thank you all again, and I'll see you back here in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.